The internet is erupting after Joe Rogan and Candace Owens teamed up, intentionally or not, to expose what they're calling some of Erika Kirk's most shocking lies yet. What began as quiet suspicion has now turned into a full-blown storm, with both Joe and Candace pointing to patterns, conversations, and behind-the-scenes behavior that paint a very different picture of Erika than the one she presents publicly. According to Joe Rogan, the official story Erika has been telling doesn't match the information he's received from credible insiders. He hinted that certain events didn't happen the way Erika claimed, and that she strategically altered details to protect herself. Candace Owens went even further, saying she's been sitting on screenshots, timestamps, and voice memos that completely contradict Erika's public statements. Social media exploded instantly. Hashtags like #Erika lied, #Candace exposed her, and #Joe confirmed it started trending within minutes. Fans began pulling up old clips, comparing Erika's past interviews to the new information, and pointing out inconsistencies that suddenly make a lot more sense. What's even wilder is how calm Joe and Candace sounded when they spoke about it, almost like they'd been waiting for the right moment to reveal everything. Their tone wasn't dramatic. It was confident, steady, and backed by evidence they claim will shock anyone who believed Erika's version of events. Now the world wants answers. What lies did Erika tell? What was she trying to cover up? And why are Joe Rogan and Candace Owens working, knowingly or not, to bring the truth to light? The story opens with a shift in energy that nobody expected. For months, people had whispered about inconsistencies in Erika Kirk's statements, but nothing ever stuck. She always found a way to spin it, twist it, or talk around the questions. But everything changed the moment Joe Rogan and Candace Owens stepped into the conversation, each revealing pieces of information that, when put together, formed a picture Erika could no longer hide behind. It all started when Joe Rogan casually mentioned on his podcast that he had been hearing things about Erika Kirk that didn't line up with her public image. He wasn't trying to go viral. He wasn't trying to start drama. He was simply repeating something that bothered him, that some of Erika's explanations didn't match up with what insiders had told him. Joe didn't call her a liar directly, but the way he phrased it made it clear. Someone wasn't telling the truth, and it wasn't the people talking to Joe. The moment the clip resurfaced online, people began asking questions. What did Joe know? Who were these insiders? And what truths were being hidden? Then Candace Owens came in with something far more direct. Unlike Joe, Candace didn't speak in vague warnings. She spoke in clear, confident statements. She said she had been aware of Erika's behavior for a long time. She said she had warned people that Erika was manipulating narratives, omitting details, and presenting a version of events that made her look innocent when the truth was far more complicated. It wasn't the first time Candace had spoken about Erika in a critical way, but this time felt different. Her tone had changed. She wasn't speculating, she was exposing. Candace didn't immediately show the messages or voice notes she claimed to have, but the way she described them was enough to send shockwaves online. She said these recordings contradicted what Erika publicly stated. She said the official timeline Erika gave to media outlets was wrong. And she said Erika had knowingly told half-truths to make herself, look like the victim when she was actually the one driving the narrative behind the scenes. As soon as Candace said this, the internet exploded with theories. People dug through Erika's interviews, podcasts, and social media posts, looking for contradictions. These were things fans had overlooked before, but now, with Joe and Candace confirming a pattern, they looked suspicious. Old live streams resurfaced where Erika described private conversations that didn't align with Joe's version of events. People noticed how Erika always emphasized certain details but left out others. Clips circulated where Erika deflected questions, talked in circles, or changed her story slightly depending on the audience she was addressing. Each time someone found a discrepancy, the clip went viral again, adding fuel to the fire. Joe Rogan's comments hit differently because Joe rarely speaks on situations like this unless he's sure. He doesn't gamble his credibility on gossip. His audience trusts him precisely because he avoids rumor-based drama. So when he said that insiders told him things didn't add up, the public didn't question him, they questioned Erika. Meanwhile, Candace doubled down. In a follow-up segment, she explained that Erika's behavior had been concerning even before the scandal broke. She described Erika as strategic, performative, and calculated in her public messaging. Candace said she wasn't attacking Erika personally, but exposing something she believed the public deserved to know that Erika had created an image built on storytelling rather than truth. She emphasized that this wasn't about jealousy, rivalry, or personal drama. It was about honesty. As these revelations spread, people began revisiting old behind-the-scenes footage from events Erika attended. Several influencers recalled moments where Erika seemed overly controlling about how she was portrayed. There were stories from people who claimed Erika insisted certain angles, photos and captions be changed because they didn't match the image she wanted to present. Former colleagues spoke quietly, hinting that Erika often exaggerated claims or omitted key details. While none of this was enough to accuse her of lying on its own, combined with Joe and Candace's statements, it painted a picture that the public couldn't ignore. Even Erika's supporters found themselves silent. Instead of rushing to her defense the way they normally did, many waited, unsure of what to believe. The silence around her became part of the story. Erika, who normally posted daily quotes, updates, and inspirational captions, suddenly stopped. She didn't address the claims directly. She didn't respond to Joe or Candace. She simply vanished from the conversation. And that silence made the public even more suspicious. People questioned why Erika wasn't defending herself. Was she waiting for things to blow over? Was she crafting a response? Or did she know that anything she said could be disproven by the evidence Candace claimed to have? Analysts on multiple platforms pointed out that Erika's sudden absence was unusual. She typically addressed controversies head-on, using her platform to control the narrative. But this time, with Joe Rogan and Candace Owens involved, she had no way to steer the conversation. Meanwhile, Joe clarified his points in another podcast. He explained that he had always found something off about Erika's stories. He said he didn't want to accuse anyone unfairly. But when two separate insiders told him stories that contradicted Erika's timeline, he couldn't ignore it. Joe said the reason he spoke out was not to create drama, but to highlight how easily the public can be misled by someone with a polished public image. Candace's reaction to Joe's statement was immediate. She posted a message saying she appreciated Joe's honesty and integrity. She hinted that she had much more to say if Erika chose to deny anything publicly. That message alone sent social media into a frenzy. The idea that Candace had been holding back evidence made people wonder what she was saving and why. Some theorized she wanted to give Erika a chance to come clean. Others believed she was waiting for Erika to slip up and contradict herself again. Journalists began reaching out to Erika's team for comment, but every attempt was met with silence. This only worsened the situation. In public scandals, silence is often taken as an admission that something isn't right. Commentators pointed out how unusual it was for someone as media-savvy as Erika to stay silent when her credibility was being questioned by two of the biggest voices in the media. Part 1 ends with tension rising on all sides. Joe Rogan has confirmed inconsistencies. Candace Owens has promised she has proof. Fans are analyzing old content. Erika is silent. And with every hour that passes, more people start to believe that the lies Joe and Candace are referring to might be far worse than anyone expected. As the pressure around Erika Kirk intensified, the internet turned into a giant magnifying glass aimed directly at her past actions. People didn't just question what she said recently. They started digging all the way back into her earliest interviews, panels, and podcast episodes. Every clip, every quote, every moment that once seemed harmless was being watched through a new lens. And the inconsistencies were becoming impossible to ignore. What made things even worse for Erika was the fact that Joe Rogan and Candace Owens weren't backing down. They weren't hesitating, softening their tone, or suggesting they might be mistaken. If anything, they spoke with more certainty as more information came out. Joe Rogan, a later episode, expanded on what he meant when he said insiders told him things didn't line up. He said one of the people who spoke to him was someone who worked closely with Erika during a major political event. That person allegedly told Joe that Erika exaggerated her closeness to certain figures and claimed to have been in meetings she wasn't actually part of. At first, Joe didn't think much of it because exaggeration is common in public spaces. But when another insider approached Joe with a completely different story that contradicted Erika's timeline, he realized something bigger was happening. Joe explained that he wasn't calling Erika a bad person. He said he was concerned that she was misleading people for reasons that didn't make sense yet. He mentioned that certain things Erika said publicly about her relationship with Charlie and other political figures didn't match what people behind the scenes experienced. This wasn't gossip. It was multiple sources telling Joe that Erika wasn't who she appeared to be. And Joe's audience, known for digging deep, immediately started comparing notes online. Meanwhile, Candace Owens was operating on a different wavelength. She was less cautious, less hesitant, and far more willing to call Erika out directly. Candace shared that she had noticed patterns long before Erika became a public figure of controversy. She claimed Erika had a habit of controlling narratives, especially those involving Charlie. Candace didn't accuse Erika of anything criminal in part 2 of this ongoing saga, but she did claim that Erika crafted stories that conveniently omitted crucial details. Candace said there were moments when Erika would describe events that Candace knew firsthand, and those descriptions didn't match what actually happened. She said she held herself back for a long time because she believed exposing Erika would only create unnecessary drama. But the moment Joe confirmed hearing similar things, Candace felt the door was finally open to say what she'd been holding back. People online noticed how strategic Candace was being. She wasn't unloading everything at once. She was dropping hints, suggesting she had screenshots, suggesting she had voice memos, suggesting she had receipts that would be impossible for Erika to explain away. That level of confidence sent TikTok and Twitter into a frenzy. Fans began searching for connections between Erika's public statements and the timelines Candace referenced. A user on Twitter posted a side-by-side comparison of 2 interviews Erika gave several months apart. In the first, Erika described a conversation with Charlie as happening the day before a major incident. In the second, she described the same conversation but placed it days earlier. People noticed this wasn't just it was a full shift in timing. Another user found a podcast clip where Erika claimed she was with Charlie during a certain event, but an archived photo from the same event showed Charlie alone. These might have seemed like minor slips if they didn't come during a moment when Erika's credibility was being tested by 2 of the biggest commentators in the country. Suddenly, every little inconsistency mattered, and Joe Rogan's audience, known for obsessively fact-checking media narratives, became the fuel pushing the story forward. With all this happening, Erika's silence became its own character in the drama. Days passed, and she still didn't address Joe or Candace's claims. People speculated about why she wasn't saying anything. Some said she was preparing a legal response. Others believed she was hoping the storm would pass on its own. But the longer she waited, the more people assumed guilt. Silence in scandals like this is often seen as an admission that there's something to hide. Behind the scenes, according to one insider who posted anonymously, Erika was in panic mode. They claimed she was reaching out to PR teams, strategists, and even influencers she had relationships with, asking them to stay neutral until things calmed down. The insider said Erika believed that responding too soon would give Joe and Candace more ammunition. She thought waiting would expose their motives. But the public wasn't buying it. In the middle of all this, a surprising twist unfolded. A clip resurfaced from a private event where Erika made a comment about Candace, that people now believed hinted at a deeper issue. In the clip, Erika said something like, "Candace means well," but she jumps to conclusions too quickly. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. But now with Candace revealing Erika's inconsistencies, the clip felt like Erika had been preparing to dismiss Candace's credibility long before any accusations were made. Candace immediately responded to the resurfaced clip, saying, "I only jump to conclusions when the facts are already lined up." That line went viral within minutes. It became a meme, a slogan, and even appeared on shirts people began selling online. It was clear the public had chosen sides, and it wasn't in Erika's favor. Meanwhile, Joe continued speaking calmly and measuredly about the situation. He said he didn't have anything personal against Erika. He said he didn't want her to be attacked or canceled. He simply wanted the truth. Joe's tone made the situation even worse for Erika because Joe's calmness contrasted with her silence. Joe looked honest. Erika looked strategic. Candace looked confident. And Erika looked cornered by this point. The story had reached mainstream outlets. News articles with headlines like "Rogan and Owens question Erika Kirk's credibility" began circulating. Political commentators weighed in. Some defended Erika, saying the attacks were exaggerated. Others said they always suspected she wasn't as transparent as she pretended to be. A few said this was a lesson in why public figures should avoid building their brand on being the perfect Christian wife, if that persona isn't entirely true. Fans speculated whether Charlie knew the full truth about Erika before his passing. They wondered if Candace had warned him. They wondered what Joe meant when he said the lies were shocking. They asked whether Erika's silence was an admission of guilt or a strategic move. And they waited for the moment Candace would finally release the evidence she teased. Part 2 ends with tension at its peak. Joe is steady. Candace is bold. The public is watching. Erika remains silent. And beneath that silence is the unmistakable sound of a narrative collapsing. Part 3 begins with Joe Rogan sitting back in his chair, staring at Candace Owens like he couldn't believe what she just revealed. He rubbed his face, shook his head slowly, and finally said, "People really don't understand how deep Erika's lies go, do they?" Candace didn't blink. She had receipts sitting in her lap like a loaded weapon. Joe, she wasn't just lying. She was running an entire operation. She unlocked her phone and slid it across the table toward him. On the screen were emails, saved voicemails, and timestamps, the kind of evidence that makes your stomach drop. Joe tapped on one file and played it. Erika's voice came through, calm and strategic, nothing like the broken, grieving widow she portrayed on camera. She was feeding stories to outlets, Candace said. Not random stories, directed narratives. Ones that protected her image, isolated Charlie's parents, and made her look like the victim every single time. Joe leaned forward. She was doing all that while crying on camera. Candace nodded. She's been running 2 lives. For the first time, Rogan looked genuinely uncomfortable. He sensed that if this much was exposed already, the reality behind the scenes must be 10 times darker. Then Candace dropped the part that changed the entire conversation. "There's footage she thought she deleted," Shay said, "but it auto-backed up." Joe froze. The footage showed Erika arriving somewhere she claimed she never went, meeting someone she swore she didn't know, talking about controlling the narrative minutes before the first false story about Charlie hit the media. Everything, the timing, the behavior, the tone directly contradicted what she told the public. Joe shook his head in disbelief. She knew exactly what she was doing. Candace stared at him. She wasn't reacting to tragedy. She was preparing for it. That line hung in the studio like smoke. Charlie's parents had been screaming about this for months. They said Erika was hiding things, dodging questions, blocking access to his phone and computer, rewriting the story of his final days. People called them dramatic, overly emotional, bitter. Now, they look like the only ones who saw the truth from day one. The only ones who saw the truth from day one. Joe revealed he had quietly contacted a former FBI behavioral analyst to review Erika's statements. Within 48 hours, the expert sent back a chilling observation. She's withholding significant information. And she's far too calm for someone claiming to be confused. Candace nodded. She inserted herself into the center of the narrative so tightly that no one could question her without looking cruel. But the moment that rattled Joe the most was when his team reached out to Erika for comment. She didn't give a denial. She didn't correct the story. She didn't even ask what they planned to say. She simply replied, "I would advise you not to pursue this." Joe said that response alone convinced him to push even harder. Then Candace finally explained the moment. She realized something was deeply wrong. She talked about the last real conversation she had with Charlie, the one she never wanted to repeat publicly. He was uneasy, restless. Something was eating at him. Candace asked him, "Are you okay?" Charlie hesitated, then said quietly, "I think I'm being used." Candace's voice cracked at the memory. She admitted she didn't push him hard enough to explain. She didn't want to assume. Now she regrets that every single day. Joe looked down. No jokes, no comments, just silence. Candace wiped a tear and said every time he tried to pull away, she pulled him right back in. Erika's entire grieving wife act suddenly looked manufactured. Candace revealed she learned Erika would rehearse lines before interviews. Not because she was nervous, but because she wanted her breakdowns to look believable. She planned her pauses, her tears, her trembling voice. It wasn't grief. It was a performance, Joe said softly. That's manipulation. The pieces lined up, the inconsistencies, the contradictions, the dramatic TV appearances. The way she demanded sympathy while shutting down every person who asked real questions. By the end of the episode, Joe stared directly into the camera and said what millions were already thinking. Someone needs to investigate Erika, for real, not for gossip, for the truth. He said the silence surrounding Charlie's case is alarming. The contradictions are disturbing, and Erika's influence is intimidating people into staying quiet. But Candace didn't stay quiet. Charlie's parents didn't stay quiet. And now the footage she tried to bury is out in the world. Joe ended with one chilling line. If she was willing to lie about this, what else was she hiding? If you've made it this far, then you already know this story is only getting darker. What Joe Rogan and Candace Owens revealed today isn't the end, it's the beginning of a much bigger unraveling. There are still unanswered questions, missing pieces, and people who haven't spoken yet. And every time someone steps forward with new information, the truth gets harder for Erika to hide. So before you leave, make sure you subscribe and stay locked in, because the next updates are going to expose details no one else is talking about. This channel is following every lead, every leak, every statement, and every contradiction. Trust me, what comes out next might flip this entire situation on its head. If you found this breakdown powerful, hit the like button so more people can see what's really going on behind the scenes. Drop a comment and tell me what you honestly think Erika is trying to cover up. 'Cause your voice helps push this story into the spotlight where it belongs. And turn on notifications, because the moment new receipts go public, the moment someone close to the case speaks up, the moment another lie cracks open, you'll want to be the first